The air was thick with the acrid smell of sulfur as the team of geologists and researchers made their way up the slopes of the massive volcano. The team had been tasked with finding the fabled Gate of Hell, a legendary portal said to lead to the underworld. It was a mission that had been attempted before, but each time, the team had been forced to turn back, overcome by the heat and fumes of the volcano. But this time was different. Armed with the latest technology and equipment, the team felt confident that they could finally locate the Gate of Hell and unlock its secrets. As they climbed higher and higher, the ground grew hotter and the air grew thinner. The peak of the volcano loomed above them like a monstrous, smoking sentinel, daring them to press forward. The geologists took measurements and samples, trying to map the interior of the mountain and understand its geology. But as they approached the summit, they began to feel a sense of unease. The air grew thicker, and the ground beneath their feet began to vibrate. It was as if the mountain itself was alive, pulsing with an energy that they could not comprehend. At last, they reached the summit, and there it was, the Gate of Hell. It was a gaping hole in the side of the mountain, wide enough to drive a car through. The air around it was thick with steam and smoke, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The team gathered around the entrance to the Gate of Hell, peering into the ink-eyed darkness. No one spoke, for they could feel the weight of history and legend pressing down upon them. This was not just a geological formation or a curiosity of nature. It was a place of power, a place where the boundary between our world and the next was thin. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook violently, and a burst of flame shot out of the opening. The team stumbled backward, shielding their faces from the intense heat. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the eruption ceased, and the Gate of Hell was still once more. The team exchanged glances, unsure of what to do next. They had found what they were looking for, but now that they were face to face with the Gate of Hell, they weren't sure if they were prepared to cross over to the other side. Little did they know, they had awoken something ancient and malevolent, something that had been slumbering beneath the volcano for eons. And now that the Gate of Hell had been opened, there was no turning back. The team had unleashed a horror that would consume them all. As the team huddled at the entrance of the Gate of Hell, they felt a sense of foreboding, as if they were being watched by something dark and malevolent. They could hear strange noises coming from deep within the mountain, and the ground continued to shake beneath their feet. Slowly, they began to back away from the opening, but it was too late. From the darkness of the tunnel, a monstrous, shadowy figure emerged. It was a creature unlike anything they had ever seen, with glowing red eyes and skin as black as pitch. The team scrambled to defend themselves, but it was no use. The creature was too powerful, too ancient. One by one, they fell to its fury, their bodies ripped apart by its massive claws. Only a handful of the team managed to escape, fleeing down the slopes of the volcano as fast as they could. But they knew that they could never truly escape the horror that they had unleashed. For the Gate of Hell was real, and it was not just a legend or a myth. It was a portal to the underworld, a gateway to the domain of demons and devils. And now that it had been opened, there was no telling what other horrors would emerge from its depths. As the survivors made their way down the slopes of the volcano, they could hear strange sounds echoing from within. It was as if the mountain itself was alive, screaming out in pain and fury. They knew that they had made a terrible mistake, one that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. For they had opened the Gate of Hell, and in doing so, They had unleashed a horror that could not be contained. And as they looked back at the smoking, rumbling mountain, they knew that they had unlocked a secret that was never meant to be revealed. For the gate of hell was real, and it was a gateway to a darkness beyond comprehension. Creepy, meaningful message. Some secrets are better left unexplored. For there are things in this world that are beyond our understanding, things that should never be unlocked or revealed. The gate of hell is one such secret, a portal to a domain of darkness that should never have been disturbed. But in our quest for knowledge and discovery, we often forget the dangers that lie hidden beneath the surface. We must be careful, for the price of our curiosity may be higher than we can ever imagine. The survivors of the ill-fated expedition to the gate of hell were forever changed by what they had experienced. They were haunted by nightmares of the monstrous creature that had emerged from the tunnel, and they knew that they could never truly escape its shadow. As the years passed, the team members went their separate ways, trying to forget the horror they had witnessed. But no matter where they went or what they did, they could never fully escape the memory of that fateful day on the slopes of the volcano. And then, one by one, they began to disappear. Some simply vanished without a trace, while others were found dead under mysterious circumstances. The survivors knew that they were being haunted, that the creature from the gate of hell had not forgotten about them. In a final act of desperation, the survivors gathered together once more, determined to put an end to the horror once and for all. They returned to the slopes of the volcano, armed with weapons and spells that they hoped would be enough to defeat the creature. As they descended into the depths of the mountain, they could hear the creature's roars echoing through the tunnels. But they did not falter. They knew that they had to finish what they had started, no matter the cost. In a fierce battle, the survivors faced off against the creature, their weapons and spells barely holding it at bay. It was a brutal, bloody struggle, and many of them fell in the fight, but in the end, they emerged victorious. The creature was defeated, banished back to the depths of the underworld from whence it had come. As the survivors made their way back to civilization, battered and bruised but alive, they knew that they had faced something truly monstrous. They had unlocked a secret that was never meant to be revealed, and they had paid a heavy price for their curiosity. Meaningful message. The gate of hell serves as a reminder that there are some secrets that should remain hidden. For every mystery that we solve, there are countless more that we cannot fathom. And in our quest for knowledge and understanding, we must be mindful of the risks and the consequences of our actions. For there are things in this world that are beyond our comprehension, things that we are better off not knowing. The gate of hell is one such secret, a reminder that there are some doors that are better left unopened.